Hello, I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Coming up next on Charlotte, a city of international success, I'll be speaking with Mr. Stambuk, who is the Executive Director of World Affairs Council of Charlotte, right here on CPCC TV. Welcome to Charlotte, a city of international success. I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Today our guest is Mr. Stambuk, and he is the Executive Director of World Affairs Council. Mr. Stambuk, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Maha.
When I say Stambuk, and it just sounds Stambuk, and how do you pronounce the whole name? I know it's a nickname.
It's a wonderful name, actually. It's Ljubomir. Ljubomir Stambuk in the original language.
Oh, it sounds so pretty. Now, does it have a meaning, or?
Yes, it actually does. It means love of peace.
Love of peace?
Ljubo is love and mir is peace, so it's love of peace.
I think your parents have already envisioned what you're going to be, and then they named when you were born. You know, I mean, it makes perfect sense with what you do with the World Affairs Council.
It does. I have to say that we have names like Alexander and Stephen and Peter in our language, and I wish they gave me one of those names. It is a difficult name to learn and remember.
Not really. I think it's a great name.
Yeah.
So, now how did you get your LJ name? I know I'm skipping some of the information.
Kind of an interesting story. I was playing basketball the first summer I was here. I went to the University of Santa Barbara for summer school, and I was playing basketball, and I was playing, it was a game 5 against 5, and I was playing with 4 African Americans on the team. You know, ball was moving fast, and they couldn't pronounce the name, so they told me, what are the first 2 letters of your name? And I said, LJ. And they said, you're LJ. And it helped the game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And LJ, where are you originally from? Where were you born?
I'm from a country that used to be called Yugoslavia. It's in the southeast part of Europe. It's bordered, or it was bordered by Italy, Austria, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Albania.
Oh, wow.
And it's on the Adriatic Sea, which is part of the Mediterranean.
Now, are you the only child, or do you have siblings?
I'm the youngest. I have a brother who is a professor of university in Belgrade. I have a sister and myself. I'm the youngest.
Okay. Now, your parents, was your father and mother, is your mother homemaker, or was she also, you know, educated? And what about your father?
My mother had an interesting career, to put it lightly. She was an accountant. She had a degree in accounting, but she was also a ballerina. She was a ballet dancer, and she danced around the world, and that's how she actually met my father. They met in the city of Prague, where she's originally from. So she had a career as a ballerina as well. Accountant
and a ballerina.
Yes.
I like that, right and left brain kind of, you know, I understand that part.
Yeah.
And what about your father?
My father, he was a diplomat. Actually, he was a writer and a poet, but he was also a diplomat. And he, when I was born, he was already an ambassador rank person, so very international, spoke 8 languages, very interested in the world. So
if he is an ambassador rank, did you have to then travel, or were you able to stay where you were?
Early on, at 9 months old, I traveled to Burma, to the city of Rangoon, and lived there for 4 years. So my first 4 years of life were in Asia, in Burma, which apparently is a beautiful country. I don't remember very much. I remember something, but I was always told by my parents it's a wonderful country. So
you traveled to Burma. Did you come back home?
We came home to Belgrade for about 9 months, and then from Belgrade we went to Holland. He was appointed ambassador to Holland, Den Haag, and I lived in Holland for about 5 years after that.
So really traveling from country to country, but you were still doing your schooling.
I was doing my schooling. No, I was doing schooling actually in Holland. I went to school, and I went to an English school. That's where I learned my English. It was an English international school with a principal who was from England. We had all kinds of exams that were sent directly from London and sent back to London and graded there. And it was an interesting experience. We had the school tie, the gray flannel slacks, the blazer with the school name on it. So it was a real little English school in the middle of Holland.
So did you actually finish your schooling? in your hometown, or what happened there?
When we came back from Holland, I went to school, and that was high school in Belgrade, former Yugoslavia. It was called a gymnasium. A gymnasium was very demanding curriculum. We had 16 subjects every year, started early in the morning.
Wow.
And we learned everything from Latin to astronomy and obviously math and sciences and things like that.
16 subjects?
Very, very demanding. It was a good school.
That sounds like it.
Yeah.
16 is a lot of subjects for us to go through.
Yeah.
So you finished your schooling there.
I finished my gymnasium, which is a high school equivalent. And then I entered and I became a student at the University of Belgrade. I studied economics, which was not my first choice, but it kind of fell into it.
Now, when you were studying your economics, were you working anywhere, or were you just going to college?
I started working early. My parents did not believe in extreme pocket money and buying things for me. And I remember a conversation I had with them when all my friends at 16 had cars. I said, Mom, Dad, I would like you to get me a car. And they said, well, you can do it yourself. We will not get you a car. You can work and earn it yourself. And then when you have it, we'll be happy for you. But you have to earn it yourself. So it was a clear signal to me that I have to go and do something. And what I did is, using my English skills, which I had at that time, I started working as interpreter. And as a junior interpreter, interpreted for foreign delegations that used to come to Yugoslavia. Yeah. Yugoslavia at that time was a non-aligned country. There was a lot of countries coming and delegations coming. So it was very interesting. I'm actually, through that experience, I got to know my country really well. I went to parts where I would never go before. Wow. Because I went with these foreign delegations. And then when I became of age, I started going with delegations abroad, which was also a great experience. Not only did I make good money, I met very interesting people from all countries of the world, and I went to very interesting countries and got to know the people and the countryside.
Wow.
And the culture.
So did you ever buy your car?
I never bought my car.
Okay, so you did all your job, you did all your work, but you earned all the money, but you never purchased it.
Relatively good money, but I love traveling. So besides traveling as my job it required, I traveled a lot on my own and basically spent the money that I should have been saving for my car on traveling. I enjoyed it very much and still do.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So then you did your bachelor's degree?
I did my bachelor's degree in economics, finished there.
Okay, and then what happened? Where did you go?
I actually got a job working for a ministry where I was working in the international department, and it was the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And a very interesting project was going on at that time globally, the World Food Conference that was being prepared and attended by the largest numbers of countries ever. Okay. And the goal of the conference that was held in Rome was that no woman, man, or child will go to bed hungry by the year 2000. So I worked on those issues. I went to Rome a lot. I was very committed to it. Yeah. Traveled the world. I went to Ethiopia during the famine, the big famine, and really worked on issues of hunger, poverty, malnutrition, and again, traveled the world. The job kind of took me everywhere.
So how did you end up in the U.S.?
I'm an economist.
$1 million question.
Yeah, I'm an economist, and I was a relatively good student, actually. And I remember very clear, I was at one of the international meetings in Rome, and there was a presentation. And the presentation had a lot of econometrics, which is a quantitative side of economics. Mm-hmm. And it was relatively new then, but I told myself, I'm not a good economist. I really don't understand this modeling part. I need to get more schooling. I need to understand this better. And it was just a thought. But by chance, as the country of Yugoslavia were sitting always next to the country of the United States of America because of the alphabet, I met the ambassador of the U.S. to the UN Food Agriculture Organization, and her name was Millicent Fenwick. She was a very dear lady, and she was a personal friend of President Ronald Reagan from his early days as an actor. And I would always stand up when she would pass by, and she said, "You're a very nice, polite young man," and we started talking. And she told me, "You know what? The U.S. has the best graduate schools. If you're interested in education, you should come to the U.S. and go to grad school in the U.S." And I said, "I would like to, but I don't think it's possible." And lo and behold, there was actually a competition that was provided by the State Department to Yugoslavia at that time for 2 scholarships from all over former Yugoslavia. Wow. There were thousands of people literally competing for it because it gave you a full scholarship for master's studies in the U.S. And I was one of the 2 people that ended up winning. And that's how I came to the U.S.
Where did you come to U.S.? What part of U.S. did you come to?
They asked me to choose a place, and I said California. And in California, I said Berkeley, Stanford. And they said, okay, and we will send you to California. It's your choice. It really will find a good spot for you. They came back with Santa Clara. I didn't know much about the University of Santa Clara, but I looked it up, and it looked very interesting and warm. So I said, okay, I'm delighted. I'm looking forward to that. The U.S. ambassador to Yugoslavia, to Belgrade, invited me for dinner because I was one of the two winners. And while we had dinner, he told me that he was very impressed and that I should actually go to Cornell University. And I said, well, I'm ready. I'm going to Santa Clara. I have an official notification. And he said, no, you have to go to Cornell. It turns out he was an alumni. And somehow I ended up at Cornell. And not only did I end up at Cornell, I ended up at Cornell in January. There was some mistake in their application, so I didn't start in the fall. I came in the middle of the winter.
Oh, goodness.
Cornell is in Ithaca, upstate New York, very close to Canada, very cold, a lot of snow. The first impression was very concerning.
Yeah.
But I loved it there. It's a great school. Ithaca is a great town, very interesting place to live on the Finger Lakes region area. Beautiful, interesting. Highly recommend the school.
Well, I'm sure, you as a foreign student probably have gone through the challenges that everybody else goes through. You don't have enough money, and you're trying to make it happen, and you're trying to survive, but you also need to do well in college. So I'm sure you have gone through all that. And how did you end up in Charlotte, North Carolina? Now it's not $1 million, it's $1 billion question. So how did you end up in Charlotte, North Carolina?
My life after Cornell was very interesting. You're right, we went through all those challenges, and it's not easy. And I was very motivated, to put it mildly, and I was very happy to be here and very grateful and appreciative that I had that opportunity. Graduating from Cornell opens doors. Through the Cornell network of professors and alumni, I was offered a job with a large company, multinational, called Ahold USA, where I was the senior vice president. It's a Dutch company that bought a lot of supermarket chains around the country and institutional food services. One of them was Bilo. I was involved in purchasing of Bilo, and it took me, again, around the world in many ways. But then I moved to New York City, actually to New Jersey, where the headquarters are, and then I met my future wife. And then I worked for another company, and one day while we were living in New York City, my wife, who is a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, came home and said, what would you think about moving to Charlotte?
And you said, where is that?
And I said, why? I kind of knew because I had some friends from Cornell who were here in the medical area. But I said, why? We have friends here, we're happy, we have good jobs. I was a chief operating officer of a company called Applied Semiconductor. Why? And she basically said, my company, Intermediate International, is moving to Charlotte, and they're offering me a promotion. And what do you think about it? I said, well, let's explore it. We came down to Charlotte. They rented the place for us for 6 months. They gave us 6 months to make up our mind.
That's a good.
It was in Myers Park, a good location, and we loved it here, and we stayed, as they say.
That was back in 1999?
No, that was in 2003.
2003?
Yeah, we're newcomers, relative newcomers to Charlotte.
Yeah, relatively newcomers. Yeah. Charlotte is, of course, I'm very biased, and it's a very open place. But talk about, your position now. Obviously you took a position with World Affairs Council of Charlotte as an executive director. But, we have had discussions about globalization. And it's not a secret anymore. It's on everybody's, tongues about, it's a global world now. But really, what does that mean for Charlotte? Because Charlotte, we want this to be an international city. We believe it is an international city. There are, a lot of international population here. And what direction you think Charlotte is going at this point in time to meet the needs of a global world?
I think it's going in the right direction. Charlotte is, first of all, just to go back a little bit in time, is a very welcoming place. It's a beautiful place. People are friendly. It's, in many ways, an ideal community to live. And I say this as someone who's been here 6 years. I love Charlotte. I enjoy it very much. It's become much more international in the 6 years that I've been here. But what global is, it's a mindset. We are living in very interesting times. And this has been repeated, but it has to be kind of really understood. The interesting times are that we are in a global economy. Our region is connected to the global economy. Even if you're not in business, you're connected to the global economy. And we're also connected to a world that is more and more politically interdependent.
Yeah.
Things that happen around the world affect us more and more, and we realize that, especially since 9/11. Things affect everything that happens in our world, has an effect on us and our well-being. In terms of the mindset, it is bringing up the young generation, but basically everyone in Charlotte understanding that there is a benefit of understanding other cultures, working with other cultures, being able to interact with them. And we just had recently the ambassador of France 2 years ago, one of the many ambassadors that we bring to town, who said, Charlotte is a growing city. It is an international city. France is interested in investing in Charlotte. You need to understand the world. It's not only enough for the world to understand about Charlotte and learn about Charlotte, but you need to understand the world better. You need to be able to deal with the world, and you'll be able to respond to the people who come here. We want foreign direct investment. It opens plants, it opens jobs, it creates a better life for all of us. And we have, 500 plus companies, international companies in our region, creating 35,000 jobs just in Charlotte. And then in the surrounding communities, we have another 200 plus companies. So it is a net benefit. But to be able to attract, work together, and benefit from that, you have to understand the world. And that's what we try to do.
And I know in schools and colleges, like CPCC has a global series, the speaker series.
Yes.
And you work directly with us.
Yes, we bring speakers.
You bring speakers to, and we appreciate that because the international business program that we have, it is just so popular.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of students, and I think it just really opens up the eyes. Well, where I'm getting at is bringing the global world to Charlotte.
Yes.
Because world itself is big.
Yes.
Then we can't really travel everywhere we go. You can only learn so many languages. We can't learn so many languages. To understand each and every culture, you can't really do immersion programs all over the world. I mean, being realistic.
Right.
So how do we bring global Charlotte? How do we bring the world to us kind of concept? And what are the opportunities that people have to get involved here?
It is impossible to do it all, but what we try to do is to have topics around people that we bring to Charlotte. So we had a topic on Russia, we had a topic on Iran, we have a topic on energy, global topics, we have a topic on global health, issues that affect us and that we deal with all the time, topics on global economy. We bring ambassadors. We bring administrative people who are leading government figures around the world. We bring experts, and we try to educate all generations of Charlotteans about what's going on in the world. Recently, we had a person who goes around Pakistan and Afghanistan and chases down the Taliban and their heroin trade. Her basic position is that the Taliban is not these freedom fighters. They're basically crooks and criminals who trade in heroin in huge amounts and poison not only the world, the Western world is safe, but also their own population.
Wow.
And she's actually giving speeches to the army about that, and she's just an amazing person. And we have people like that that come all the time that educate us about what's going on around the world so we can understand it better, we can interact better, and benefit from that. We have other programs that we do with the younger generations where we teach them and prepare them for this global world. It's our duty as adults to teach them to be able to survive and be successful in this new world that is emerging. And we do it in many ways. One that I'm very proud of is we send teachers abroad. Teachers that have already shown interest in international and that never had an opportunity to go abroad and learn about other teaching methodologies and how other schools around the world deal with teaching their students. We send them abroad. Every year, about 4 or 5 teachers, they come back, they share it with their students, they share it with other teachers, with the principals. We have something called Academic World Quest. We had a record number of 24 high school teams competing, 10 students from each school. They compete international trivia kind of competition on anything international, from current events to geography, to flags, to languages, to religion.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of things.
What a great way to learn.
And they prepare the whole year. They're committed. They compete, and the winning team is sent to Washington, D.C. to represent Charlotte.
Oh, that's great.
And every year we have more and more schools competing and more of these young people learning about the world and being prepared for the future marketplace that they're going to enter very soon. There's a myriad of these programs. Again, the whole point is that we want to promote global understanding and international education. We're a regional center on helping people learn about the world. But what we also do, and I'll use a good example, we also want to bring the world to Charlotte and learn about Charlotte. We just had the Indian ambassador here a month ago, Her Excellency Meera Shankar, amazing woman. We arranged for her to meet with a number of leading businesses in town. She also spoke to a number of groups around town, and then she had a business breakfast series where she spoke to 100 business leaders as well. So there was a lot of interaction on her part, not only on cultural and knowledge about India, but also on business topics that will hopefully result in more investment in Charlotte and more Indian companies coming to Charlotte.
I think what you're talking about is not only just cultural understanding and languages and the basic things that we all need to understand things, but you're talking about the economic and political aspect.
Exactly.
How important that is, whether we are going into a different country to invest, whether they are coming to us to invest. We need to understand, by bringing in these people who have first-hand knowledge, who can give us, we establish contacts.
Exactly.
And then we actually explore the opportunities. What does Charlotte stand for? What do we have here? How can you invest? What are the things you need to do? And so it's a larger perspective, and then a direct investment opportunity versus, some kind of philosophical, meeting where, hey, you get to know me.
We show them what we have.
Exactly.
We promote Charlotte as a great community to live and invest in and create jobs, and it is working.
It is working. So what are the things, what are the strengths that Charlotte has that we usually, brag about too? Because I know we have banks, but much more than that.
We have much more than that. And again, one of the most important things, and again, someone who's lived in a different country and then lived here for many years in many communities, there is incredible friendliness and openness in Charlotte. It is becoming more and more international, and it's the work of many people in the city that are working on that. It's the mindset of the city is such that it allows for people from different cultures, and companies are just pouring in. Electrolux and others are coming to our, because it provides the opportunities for a very good life. The workforce is educated. The climate, everyone knows, is just beautiful. And it's just an ideal place. And then thanks to our direct links through US Airways and Lufthansa, we're opening direct flights to many more places now. Europe is very close now through our links. Brazil just opened. It is just a great place to do business.
I think we're talking about, when we talk about direct investments, when they come here, they're trying to hire our people.
Yes.
So it's really, the economic development, the opportunities for workforce, and which CPCC plays a major role. That's why workforce development is huge for us. So, with other organizations, including CPCC, I think what you're getting at is we also need to continue to educate our generations to ensure that they can actually function in a global world, not necessarily just going out of the country to do something.
Absolutely.
Is to really support the people who come here, the international investments, to ensure we have the talent, to ensure we have the knowledge to support and understand where they're coming from.
And you hit it on the head, the nail on the head. When we have people, foreign people, come to this academic world quest and they see 150 students and the level of knowledge of international they have, they said, wow, I didn't know this, and I'm from that country. It's again preparing them to be able to interact on many levels with people from different countries that come here and be able to talk to them in a language that they feel comfortable with. We work with all the universities, and it's a great program. We have career panels where we bring people who have worked internationally and globally to talk to students about what it is to work in a multinational company, what it is to work in Africa, what it is like to work in Turkey. And the students then have the opportunity to interact directly and learn from them and be better prepared to apply for jobs and do better in their jobs when those jobs open.
It's wonderful what you do for this community and what the organizations, so many international organizations, and I appreciate you joining us today for to share this information. And thank you for being on our show.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching Charlotte, a city of international success. I'm Dr. Maha Gingrich. Please join us again next time on Charlotte, a city of international success.